What's up, guys? Giant Chase here, and it's Q&A Sunday, Episode 6, The Undiscovered Country, or if you're a Star Wars fan, Return of the Jedi. We got questions to answer, so let's get to it. First off, Icy Soul 58 asks, "Hello, Johnny. I got two questions to ask you. Number one, do you have a favorite fighting game?" I do. It's called Street Fighter 2 and any iteration of Street Fighter 2, going from Champion Edition to Turbo to Hyper Fighting to Super Street Fighter 2 to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. Really, any variation of Street Fighter, not just 2, it's pretty much my favorite fighting game. I mean, I love my Third Strike. I love my Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, and I have yet to play Ultra as I am not able to afford it yet, but since Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition will be coming to Games for Gold for Xbox 360 owners, I'll be getting that. I already own it, but I'm going to keep it and sell my physical copy and get Ultra when I get enough money. And second question, do you like remixed video game music? If so, what are your favorites? As far as like official remixes go, I kind of like the soundtrack to Bionic Commando Rearmed, where it takes a lot of it takes the tunes and gives it a more like techno and dance beat type feel to it. Really like those tunes. I like Super Street Fighter 2 HD Remix, where they took remix songs from the OC Remix, the Overclocked Remix website that people have done, and incorporated that into their game. I also really like rock remix and rock covers. There's a YouTuber that I follow called Family Jewels 7X who does fantastic video game covers, and he plays all the instruments himself. He plays electric guitar, acoustic guitar, the ocarina, drums, bass, you name it, and he does really good. He does a really good job of it. I also like cover bands like Power Glove and Mini Bosses. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. Our old friend Ojonic shows up. He says apologize for the last few questions being a little bit messy and not proofreading, and he apologizes. That's okay. Remember, kids, always proofread. Show your work. Number one, what are your feelings on romance in video games? Do you like them or hate them or indifferent? Are you glad they're more prominent than before, or would you prefer less? I don't mind it. It adds a little bit more extra narrative, especially in the Mass Effect series, where I romanced Liara, and it actually carried through all three games, even though I did have a little bit of a fling with, God help me, I can't remember his name. The guy looks like Kanye West. I never took him on any mission. I just called him Kanye West. He was in 2. I romanced him just to get that achievement. And then I re-romanced Liara. She didn't care. But then when we met on Mars, she was just like, what about that thing with you and what's-his-face? Oh, that's over. It's you and me now. And it really was touching when they did the extended cut, and the Normandy came in, picked up everyone, and it's just like, I'll see you soon, Liara. And I'm like, no, you're going to die. Also related to the first question, how do you feel on the interspecies relationships / romances, which usually shipping a human with alien AI robot? Again, do you like or hate that, or indifferent, or maybe disgusted? Hey, I'm fine with it. I had a femme shep, and I mated with supposed to be one. I can't remember the term for it when it's just one sex for their species, but they look prominently female. But yeah, that's what the Asari are. They're just one sex. They look female, but they're not really considered any gender. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Joker was hitting on Edie, the robotic version of Edie. And you notice how there, especially in 3, how there's so many prominently homosexual characters, and nobody bats an eye. In the game, anyway. I mean, you have your conservatives and your homophobes out there who are just like, gay people, keep them out of our games. Man, I liked it. I love the scene where you go down to the Bells' ship and you see Cortez and he's weeping over his lost husband. And all you can do is shepherd. You can, comfort him if you're not the male one, and if you're female ship, you can comfort him and say you got a shoulder to cry on. If you're male ship, you can comfort him and make another romance. Number 3, you only have to answer this if you said yes to you like romances. Well, I did. So, is there anything you would like to add or change or make better in romance in video games? This is the one thing I'm hoping for from Mass Effect 4. if you see you pretty much have made love in all three games. If you worked it right, you can romance the same person from all three games. I think with the exception of Caden and Ashley, because Caden and Ashley only make a cameo in 2. But it still could technically work. If it's if it's the opposite sex, the person that survives, as long as you keep them survived, could bear your child. That could be the new Shepard. That could lead into Mass Effect 4. That would be pretty cool. It's like you are the son or daughter of the infamous Commander Shepard that saved the galaxy. Or, merged with the Reapers, whatever. I think that could be really cool. As far as romances go, it would be kind of cool if you could get, stat boosts from marrying someone. Like, they're more dependent. Or they'll respond better to your actions. So let's say, I'm Shepard. I romanced Liara. She becomes a lot better in combat because she's fighting for something more other than the fate of the universe. She's fighting for your love. That would be pretty cool. Number 4, same as 3. Your opinions on sex scenes in video game, like, dislike, indifferent, and would you want to change them or make them better, or just get rid of them entirely, or what? And as a side question to it, if you had time, why is that a mature TV show can have nudity and sex and get praised for it, i.e. Game of Thrones, but have it in a mature video game like Dragon Age and it's considered taboo? Well, I think, for the first part, sex scenes in video games, don't mind them because they are rated M for mature. They should only be viewed by a mature audience. Obviously, you have parents there that will just go out and willingly buy stuff for their kids, not knowing what they are, not willing to educate themselves on that. So I'm fine with that. I like it too, though, if they're done tastefully, or if they're done in a comedic fashion. If they're not just there, I'm glad we haven't had at least in a mainstream video game, an on-scene rape scene. I mean, it's been heavily implied in games like Tomb Raider, and there's a scene in Beyond Two Souls where David Cage almost went that far. There is an audio file with Ellen Page in what could be considered post-rape scene. I'm glad that's in there. Rape has no place in video games. As far as why sex scenes get praised in things like Game of Thrones and like HBO and AMC shows as opposed to video games, they said, even though video games are rated M for mature and have these scenes in it, it's still pretty prevalent for kids to buy them. Even though retailers have been told, you cannot sell to minors. You must ask for ID. A lot of them do not. They'll just buy them. They will tell. I have seen plenty of people that have told their parents, hey, this is an M-rated game. It has blood, it has violence, it has people killing, it has sex, it has drugs. You probably don't want this for your kid. If they said that's fine, then that's fine. I mean, I've seen plenty of people. I've seen a mother not buy an Xbox Live Gold card just because it said Call of Duty Ghost. She's like, no more shooting. And he's like, well, you're not buying the game. It's just the image on there. She's like, I don't care. No more shooting. I mean, there's a well-educated person right there, and she's kind of putting her foot down on the whole thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Because it's more prevalent for kids to get into. I mean, of course, Game of Thrones is easier. Is easy for kids to get into too. I mean, it's not that hard for someone just to go torrent an episode of Game of Thrones or YouTube a clip, or not even YouTube a clip. There's plenty of video sites out there that will allow nudity, so it's not that hard for kids to look at it. I mean, in the end, I'm gonna kind of get away from this topic. In the end, it's all up to the parents. They have to learn how to police their children and make sure they're monitoring what they're playing and what they're watching. And lastly, we have several questions from Adam Busker. Before I get my next round of questions, I'll say thank you for answering all my questions, even if only seems I'm the only one doing it. I know a few others are, but mostly just me. Well, no, we got a few more people going, so that's fine. Number 1, if and when the time comes that Robert Downey Jr. steps away from the role of Tony Stark Iron Man, who would you choose to be his replacement? Nobody. I think that when it comes time for them to hang up the iron boots of Iron Man, when Robert Downey Jr. is about to say, this is my last Iron Man movie / Avengers movie, I'm done, I'm going to walk away, they should end it right there. Nobody else will be able to top Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Iron Man. Sorry, ain't going to happen. Number 2, with the announcement of Star Wars spin-off films being in development, what characters do you want to see get the spin-off treatment? Spin-off movies. Honestly, I don't know. I'd kind of like to see. They'll have to recast them, but I would like to see a young Han Solo and a young Chewbacca going around smuggling before they meet Luke and Obi-Wan in that bar on Mos Eisley. That would be a pretty cool spin-off. No more spin-offs with droids. We had that back in the 80s. It was called Droids. It was animated. It sucked. No more spin-offs with Ewoks. Again, it was in the 80s, and it sucked. I mean, I think I liked it when I was a kid, but I know as an adult, it ain't that good. If there's any more spin-offs, nothing more from the prequel. Let's do spin-offs in the original trilogy or this new trilogy and build on the mythos. Let's not tell backstories that have no place, like Anakin Skywalker built C-3PO. Number 3, besides Mass Effect and Tomb Raider, which other series are favorites of yours and Melanie's? I apologize if I spelled her name wrong. After watching you and Melanie's E3 recap, I wanted to come back and ask one more question for this week. Okay, so we'll hold off on that one. So I guess you already added on to it, but if not, we'll read it later. Besides Mass Effect and Tomb Raider, what are our other favorite series? My favorite series is the Grand Theft Auto series. I've been playing it since 3. Fortunately, I never beat 3, never beat Vice City, and I don't even think I beat San Andreas. I think 4 was the first one I beat, and the Battle of Gay Tony. I'm still in the midst of Lost and Damned and haven't finished that. Finished GTA 5. I marathoned that and beat it within a week and a half or 2 weeks, and unfortunately, with the achievements on the online side, I am still grinding away on that because it's really, really hard to get 100. As far as Melanie goes for Mass Effect and Tomb Raider, she's a really big fan of the Dragon Age series, and I know she hasn't played this over a year, but I would still say she's still a fan of World of Warcraft. I think she may be getting back into it because there is the ability to go on vanilla servers, but we'll wait and see. So number 4, yes. Were there any games that you found both of you... Were there any games that you found both of you looking forward to being either announced or talked about? For me, it was The Last Guardian. I know they said it was still in development, but if you'd like, with the rumors over the weekend leading E3 that had been canceled, would propel them to show something. The other game was RE7, and it was rumored that Capcom would be announcing it at E3. Okay, so back in chat. Were there any games that you found both of you were looking forward to being either announced or talked about? As I said in previous Q&As, the rumored Halo Master Chief Collection for Xbox One, which would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was happy that they announced it in the Microsoft press conference, and they stated that Halo 2 would have the full anniversary treatment with updated graphics, keeping the original engine, and also keeping the multiplayer intact. We'll be able to finally play Halo 2 multiplayer again, which is still by far the favorite, Halo Reach being a close second. As far as Melanie goes, I think, I don't know though, there was another one that she got like really super excited for, but she seems pretty impressed with the games that were announced. And I will say one thing about The Last Guardian that will probably get me a lot of hate comments and hate mail. I don't care. They have shown two teaser trailers, and people are only basing this on the company's 2 other games, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. I cannot get hyped for a game that I've only seen 2 teaser trailers for and no gameplay whatsoever in 7 years. I think it's time to either shit or get off the pot, as Randall would say. Shit or get off the pot. Either say it's still coming or just say we don't care to work on it anymore, we're canceling it. Because this is being developed on PS4. If they want to bring it over to PS3, they want to bring it to PS4, they're going to have to rewrite a whole bunch of other shit, and it's just going to take forever. So that's my stance on Last Guardian. Don't care, won't shed a tear if it gets canceled. Start spamming your hate now. Anyways, it's Q&A Sunday for this week. Thank you so much for asking all your questions. If you want to ask a question for next week's episode, please leave it down in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer it. Until next week, I'm Johnny Chase. Y'all have a good one.